and it was brought to the notice of the people who are actually taking care of the stadium. I mean, it was told to them that, such and such thing is happening. The only thing that we got as a response there was like, oh, please don't make it very big. So like, that girl is slightly developed and she's standing in a costume. And, I felt, the coach is looking at her from a different angle. Your point of view.
The simple answer is that it is natural for a man to look at a woman, especially skin. Now, having said that, and before people start holding me, saying like, oh, so you're saying it's natural? No. To add to that, it's natural, but it's not normal. For me, I felt that sometimes people have made moves or approached in such a way. Yes, you could see, but that doesn't mean I should slip. It's like, whether you drink poison or somebody drops poison in your mouth, it is still going to hurt. Let's say if there was a choice of, not just you, this is to all parents out there. If your daughter can become an international medalist with all the medals, and all the success that they can, but at the cost of their safety, they have gone through sort of, abuse at certain ages with different people, would you be okay with that? And this, I think, is a very reflective question. I want to ask you this question from a safety perspective for women.
Okay.
With your daughters now, so many years that you've been traveling with them, you've been taking them for practice, or with any others, are there any incidents that you remember where you felt your daughters were unsafe, or you saw somebody else who was unsafe or uncomfortable?
I can say a number of instances. When you ask that question, so many instances come on my mind. I've seen, like, when children go, girls go for practice and all that, the way someone looks at your kid in a swimsuit, the way, it makes you feel little insecure. The second is another incident when we went for a competition. The girls, as usual, they were practicing and they were coming out of the pool and all. We just saw an incident where, some of the girls, they were coming out of the pool and there was a guy sitting somewhere, and not even in the gallery. I mean, he was just sitting at the training place, just on the deck. And this guy was having a phone in his hand and he was just keeping it just like that. And, he was taking the pictures, videos of the girls when they were coming out of the pool. And it became a big issue. It was brought about, to the attention of the organizers. And the organizers, they took the the mobile and all that, and they did do something about it. Yeah, another incident that comes to mind, Declan, is that, seen like, a female athlete who's slightly developed or in the developing stage, at the age of 14 to 16, girls are developing. Swimming being, I'm speaking only about swimming because that's the only sport where I am involved much.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. So like, that girl is slightly developed and she's standing in a costume. And, I felt, the coach is looking at her from a different angle. I mean, and this, even that particular swimmer's parent did feel about it, and she did say about it, talk to rest of the parents, but then it was never told to the person who actually did it. And another incident that I can say is which happened in another competition, where it just happened before a competition. Children were just practicing and a particular girl was trying to see about her diving practice she was doing. She was standing on the diving board, and there was this guy who was standing on the gallery. I think he was a painter or someone who was standing on the gallery, and he was painting the gallery, getting the thing ready. But the moment he saw the girl on the diving board in a swim costume, I don't know what got into his head. He started recording that girl, and it was brought to the notice of the people who are actually taking care of the stadium. I mean, it was told to them that, such and such thing is happening. The only thing that we got as a response there was like, oh, please don't make it very big. Please don't make it very big. And, they just called that guy and they said, you have come here just to do the painting job, you just do the job. And I think that is not the solution that as parents or as an athlete would have expected there at that moment. There had to be some stronger things when especially female athletes are present in a particular competition or before a competition or even during the
Especially
training.
with the amount of cases that are out there, almost, I mean, every second month there's something that comes out, and
Yeah,
after all
exactly.
this, if people and organizers don't take action immediately, that's really sad.
Declan, I would like to ask you this. As a male coach, you come and connect with so many female athletes and all. Why do you think such thing happen? You know, although the organizers know that such a thing is bad, but why do you think it just happens? You are a male coach, so I thought I should ask you this question.
Yes. Well,
Your point of view.
the simple answer is that it is natural for a man to look at a woman, especially skin. Now, having said that, and before people start holding me, saying like, oh, so you're saying it's natural? No. To add to that, it's natural, but it's not normal. Okay. What is natural is, like I said, a man looking at a woman. Somebody comes in a short skirt, somebody comes with a top which is maybe low. A man will look, and I think any man out there, if he says, I don't do that, he's lying. Okay, any man, I can tell you that. But having said that it is natural, and why it is not normal is, even peeing is a natural thing, but you don't pee anyway. Okay, when you want to go to the washroom, you want to I mean, to shit, you don't shit anyway because it's not normal. It would be considered abnormal if a person goes and pees in a public place. Looking at a woman is not wrong. Okay, how you look and how you act, and especially in a professional setting, is where the problem is. Okay? So the man has to understand this is a natural instinct that he has, but this is what you need to control, because just like I said, you don't urinate anyway. Children do because they are immature. So if a man still does it or a woman still does it at a certain age, that means you've not developed. And sport gives this sort of unique setting where the skin exposed. In the outside world, you won't see as much leg, as much arms, as much of the shoulders, as much body hugging sort of outfits. If somebody wears, it might be at a party or at a certain place, maybe in the gym. So sport and gym, these are the two places where a lot of sort of exposure happens, a lot of sort of shape is seen.
And it's a well-toned body.
It's a well-toned body again. Some of the best bodies, sportswomen will have much better bodies than actors and actresses. They're much and natural, without any surgeries, without no sort of injections. So those men working around are still men, and those men have to understand that you will be working with, if I may say, beautiful bodies, but that doesn't mean those bodies are for your eyes. So that maturity has to be there. It's natural, but it is not normal to look like. A man wouldn't look at his sister or his daughter, because if it was natural, you would. So why do you not look at your own daughter like that? Why don't you look at your own sister like that? Because you are trained, you know that I've evolved to know that this is wrong. So I think that is what coaches need to understand, that it is wrong. You work with youngsters, whoever at a workplace, it's not meant to be. So that thing between natural and normal, I think that clarity has to be there.
Has to be there. Yeah. Okay.
I want to ask you, Akhila, this now from a perspective of safety. What would you have wanted if you were an athlete, or even for your daughters, or for the general population, as a woman, men out there, what do you think they should do?
I would first think I should be respected for being a woman. That should be my first thing. Let a woman remain a woman. We have seen when we get into sports, even between the girls or even between the female athletes, it's become they have to become like a man, which is not required. You can still be a woman and still be a sports person. Let a woman remain a woman over there. That would be my first point. The second one would be of course, the safety part of it. When I walk into an environment, whether it's for training or whether it's for competition, I should be focused only on my skills with which I can get my performance the best. I should not be worried about whether somebody is going to be looking at me in a particular way, whether somebody is taking a video, somebody is not respecting me, or somebody is scanning through the way how I'm wearing it. Declan, I want to ask you this question now. Have you ever felt as a male coach that you have made a mistake, or you could have been different, or you had been different to a female athlete, or what you could have done better? Have you come across any such instances like that?
Again, let me maybe say that what you're asking is, have I been tempted, right? And
Could
again,
be. Maybe I'm trying to put
yeah,
it in a polished
yeah.
way
But
with you.
and as a male again,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a man first,
Yeah.
okay, before I'm a coach, okay, or before I'm into any sports science. So I would say the difference between me and many others would be that yes, I have observed, and especially when you're younger, your mind is a bit different. You observe, but the difference has always been that you look at a body, and if you're trained enough, you know not to look at it for long, and you know that okay, this is something, like I said, no, which is skin, and then you realize it's rude to look at anybody in general. I think the difference between a lot of guys who make mistakes is that they keep looking, they keep staring, maybe they get into their own dreams. So as a man, for me, I think one thing I realized, that work comes first. I work because I need the job. That's my income. I don't want to mess up. And I was fortunate to get this type of mindset. I've learned from my sort of mentors who are there, who always taught me what to do at work and what not to. Incidents where I would say the other way now. What happens if sometimes you have this young kids, they are friends, sometimes parents, they get impressed. You're a coach, you're in a power position, so they talk nicely. You're also young. Again, if you know your limits, you'll not cross. People talk nicely to you because of your position. It is not because you are some Hrithik Roshan or some hero. Okay, I think you have to realize this part. Okay, as a man, that when people come in, they're all humble and nice to you, not because you're some stud, who they just want to take out for a date or something, or go on a date with. So I think if that part is realized, then we find it easy. So for me, I felt that sometimes people have made moves or approached in such a way. Yes, you could see, but that doesn't mean I should slip. It's like whether you drink poison or somebody drops poison in your mouth, it is still going to hurt. This happens a lot in gyms as well. Gyms is another thing, and one day we can do a
Sure.
post on that. There's a similar thing happens in gyms with trainers, because again they are also faced with a lot of women who come in there, different ages, people come in different clothes. So again, a trainer can think, these women come for me, I'm the one, they ask me. Okay, so all these things, if you realize, was just a job, then I think it keeps people in check, and I've kept myself in check with that. It's
That's
just a
nice.
job.
That's
I'm
nice.
not special.
So like really marking the that line between the professionalism and the personal aspect of it. I think
Absolutely.
it can be
Yeah,
done.
absolutely.
That's really nice.
So Akhila, what do you think is not a solution, but what advice would you give to those people who have 12 years old, or maybe 14, 15, 16-year-old daughters who are out in sport, swimming and so many others? What do you think they should do? What do you wish you knew when you started off?
I mean, the one thing that I would like to tell parents who are having kids, female athletes in that age group, that's a very vulnerable age. My case, if you look, I have daughters. I don't have any boys. So they have grown up without brothers. But then when you look at a boy, you're exposing them outside. There could be stages like, where they think, why can't I do this? Because it's their growing age.
Right.
And it is common. It is not something that is bad. Some children get into it, some children don't get into it. But as parents, we should always guide them that how they have to draw their boundaries. Girls also need to draw their boundaries, what you can allow and what you cannot allow. And if they feel unsafe, they are going for a training or they are going for a competition, they feel unsafe, they need to come out and speak about it to your parents, or if you feel comfortable with someone. No, you don't feel comfortable telling your parents, tell someone so that you feel that there is an unsafe environment that is happening and you need help. Asking for help would be the first thing that they need to do.
Agree.
I mean, something went wrong, something went bad, you were not quite comfortable, you don't know whether it was right or wrong, just don't keep it to yourself. Discuss it with your parents. Parents are the best friends that the child can have at that point of time.
Very
So,
true. Very.
and if they still feel unsafe, the best thing would be to change the environment. If you can fix the environment or get it done, get it done. Otherwise, I feel they have to change the
I think
environment.
that's brilliant points. Two things, one, what you said first is about the parents are the child's best friend. I think this should not be forgotten by anyone. The parents come first, not the coach, not the organization. Again, I know I might not be very popular to say this. As a coach, you're supposed to be this guiding light. No, parents come first. If it's my daughter, I am first for her, not any coach. Even if she has to go to the Olympics and go to the World Championship and do anything, parents come first. And this I'm talking from a safety perspective. Of course, as a parent, the parent doesn't go and do coaching. You don't have to get in that. So I always use this line, coach should not become the parent, and the parent should not become the sports coach. But the friend first is parent. The well-wisher is the parent. The child lives with the parent. Okay, so I think that's a brilliant point you said. And second, what you said is about, change the environment. I think this is again a lot of parents go through where they don't change, they suffer. And they think maybe this is how it is. No, change it. It's never worth it. If it's unsafe, move on. Okay, at no point do you have to hang in there because it's in your destiny or it's meant to be. I think brilliant points what you've raised.
Yeah, we have seen so many things now, Declan. Now, is there a solution to this?
I think there are three ways. Okay, maybe is there a solution? I don't know. But the first would be, and I think this is where a lot of sort of these misdemeanors happen. First one is that there has to be very strict law enforcement.
Okay.
So if somebody makes a mistake, that should be an example for others, coaches. And I'm talking about both male and female coaches also. Let's say assume in the future we have cases where young boys are abused by female coaches. There has to be a strict law, and that law has to be implemented. And if that is not seen, then the others also do it. So I think that's where maybe there's a bit of a gap and failure at different levels in sport.
I mean, laws always exist. It has to be implemented.
And it's not been happening.
Okay.
Right. So many cases we see, like you hear and then people are let off. So I think when that doesn't happen, through organizations and through associations and federations and stuff, I think it keeps happening. We can't just blame. I sometimes feel, a lot of people just keep blaming government for everything. You can't expect everything to come from there. There's some things which at different organizational levels it has to happen. So first is law. The second one is where parents have to become more aware. Okay. And there's no sort of, there's no option. If you're the father or a mother of a girl child who's in sport, you matter. Safety comes from you. You have to be very aware in a setting. With coaches, with colleagues, with anywhere. You have to do your job of protection. You can't expect that you leave the child and it is all okay. And I think the third one becomes that coaches, physiotherapists, trainers in gyms and elsewhere, and anybody who's working, we have to learn to sort of evolve, because no matter how many laws are there, no matter how sort of, smart parents can be and stuff, we have to change ourselves if you want to improve. And I look at this as one of those signs, when a person who will move ahead will have less weaknesses. So as a coach who comes in, if you have lesser weaknesses, you can move on, or you become just another average guy. Let's say if there was a choice of, not just you, this is to all parents out there. If your daughter can become an international medalist with all the medals, and all the success that they can, but at the cost of their safety, they have gone through sort of, abuse at certain ages with different people, would you be okay with that? And this, I think, is a very reflective question.
It is a very reflective question to me too. But yes, the answer would definitely be no. Safety comes first for my. It is not worth what we are putting in.
Winning at any cost, no, that's that mindset.
Mindset, yeah.
So I think in that cost, this is not included. Safety is not the cost.
True. When they say winning at any cost, I think safety is never
exactly
to be compromised.
Never be compromised.